Hello all, welcome to this session. In this session, I'm going to answer one of the Java interview questions. That is, write a Java program to demonstrate a static block. Let me answer this question with practical demonstration. So before I practically demonstrate this, how to use this static block in the Java programs and all, let me first explain some concepts in a theoretical way. So you already know about a class in Java programs. All the things in the Java programs need to be written inside the class, and the main members of the class are variables and methods. These are the two main members of the class. One is variables and another one is methods. Coming to the variables, we use the variables to store the data, whereas we use the methods to write the programming logic inside that. Okay. So that those are the two main members of the class. But apart from these variables and methods, we have another member that is none other than static block. Okay. And other members are also there. As part of this question, I am focusing on the static block, which is another member of the class. Inside the class, apart from writing variables and methods, you can also write the static block. So the syntax of the static block is something like this. Okay. This block, which is written inside the class, should start with the static keyword. After static keyword, starting brace will be there, ending brace will be there. In the starting and ending brace, in between the starting and ending brace, you can write your code. Okay. So what is the differentiator with this static block? So what happens? The theory or what exactly the static block known for and how it will get executed. I'm going to explain theoretically first. First thing is that whenever Java program is run by JVM, what the JVM will do to run the Java program, JVM will load the entire class into the memory first, right? When the JVM loads this particular entire class code into the memory, then itself, while the JVM is loading the class into the memory, the static block will get executed. That's the reason, that's the reason the code inside the static block will be executed even before the main method. We know that, okay, till now we know that when you run the Java programs, the execution will start from the main method, but that's not true when you have a static block inside the class. Because before the main method gets executed by JVM, okay, before the main method is executed by JVM, while the JVM is loading the class into the memory, then itself the static block will get executed, because of which static block will be executed before the main method itself, okay? So first static block inside the class will be executed, the code inside static block will be executed inside the class. After that, main method inside the class code will be executed. That's how the order of execution is. Okay. So how can we take advantage of the static block, which gets executed way before the main method, and it gets executed the moment when the JVM loads the class into the memory. Okay. So what is the advantage? How to take the advantage of the static block? Mainly used for performing one-time initialization task for the class. There may be other advantages of using static block, but the main advantage that I want to discuss here is the purpose of the static block is to do the one-time initialization for the class. Okay. The class related variables are there. Let's say there are some class related variables. Class related variables will be definitely static variables. Okay. That static variables, if you want to initialize the static variables before you call the main method, okay, before the main method runs, if you want to initialize the static variables of the class, then the easiest way to do that is one-time initialization process, because static block will be executed only once when the class gets loaded into, by JVM into the memory before the main method, only once. So initialization will be done automatically and you can use the variables. Okay. I'll practically demonstrate so that you'll get an idea of how to use static block inside the Java programs. For that, I'll switch to Eclipse IDE and create a new class. I'll just name this class as class, some random name. Let's say class 38, already there, 39, I'll say. Okay. Main method I'll create, click on finish. And here inside the main method, okay, I'm not writing anything inside the main method, guys. Before this main method, as a members of the class, I'll create some variables, static variables, static, static string color. I'm not initializing it. You see, just creating the static variables, static int price, let's say, static double mileage, let's say, okay, static string company, let's say, static. I'm just taking an example, guys. Don't take this seriously. Model, I'll say, okay, like this, some and static int wheels, let's say like some static variables I created. Before I use these static variables inside the main method, I want them to get initialized. For that reason, what I can do is I can create a static keyword and start the static block and end the static block like this. Okay. In between this starting and ending braces of this static block, which is mentioned with static keyword, I'll try to initialize these variables. For example, here I'll say color is equal to gray. Okay. Price is equal to, let's say, integer value, right? So 9 lakhs in Indian rupees, let's say. Okay. Mileage is equal to 15.32, let's say. Okay. This is a mileage. Then company is equal to, let's say, Honda. Okay. One of the car company. Then model is equal to Amaze model. Okay. Then wheels is equal to 4 wheels. Like this, I'll initialize all the static variables, because when you run this code, okay, all the static variables will be initialized in the static block. And before the main method runs, you will have all these variables already initialized this with this particular data. Now, simply I will print it out, system.out.println. Okay. Here I'll write color of the car. Color of the car is this color. Okay. This static variable, I'll print it out. System.out.println. You can see if it is not initialized, okay, I'll also write system.out.println. Okay. Static block started. Here I'll say system.out.println. Static block ended. To explain you guys, like, the execution of the code, I'll write like this. Okay, here I'll write system.out.println. Main method started. Here I'll write down system.out.println. Main method ended. Okay, like, let's write this code. And after this, you try to print all the stuff. So these statements I've written to see like what is the execution of the code, order of execution and all. So color of the car I printed, price of the car I'll print. Price of the car is plus this particular price variable. I'll print it out. The value will be initialized here in the static block before the main method. So we'll get the value. And then system.out.println, mileage of the car. Okay. So here I'll write down mileage of the car is plus this mileage. Okay. Okay. This mileage variable. Okay. I think it's located. System.out.println. After that mileage, what is their company model wheels? Company of the car is plus this company. Model of the car is, next one is model. System.out.println. Here I'll write down model of the car is plus this particular model. Then system.out.println. Number of wheels of the car. Are plus wheels. Okay, like this I'll write. And that's it, guys. So let's see how the execution will happen and whether the static, generally the main purpose of the static block in Java is to initialize a one-time initializing of the class related variables. That is, static variables are class variables. To initialize them, we generally use that. And later in the main method, we can access them. Okay. So, and static block will be executed way before the main method. All these things will be clear for you when I run the program. When I run the program, a static block will be executed and then the main method. You see what happened when I run the program? First, which got executed? Static block started. It has not started the main method here. It started the static block. Then static block ended. That means initialization is done here. Then main method started. Since the installation is done, is already in the static block. You see, color of the car is gray. Price of the car is 9 lakhs. Mileage of the car is 15.32. Company of the car is Honda. Model of the car is Amaze. And number of wheels of the car are 4. And main method ended got printed. So with this, you can understand what exactly is the purpose of the static keyword and how to use it clearly, right? So I have just, changed the font size so that you can take a screenshot of this code and practice the static block in your case, okay? So yeah, Now you can take the screenshot, guys. I'll just pause this for a while, and you can take the screenshot. Hope guys you have taken the screenshot for this particular code and saved in your machine and then practice later onwards. Okay. So with this practical demonstration, hope you understood how to write a Java program to demonstrate a static block. Okay. Not only demonstrate the static block, but also explain the concept behind the static block and what is the purpose, why we have to use that. Okay. What is the necessity of the static block? What is the order in which it will be executed when compared to the main method? Everything you explain, and when it will be executed in the program. When JVM loads the class into the memory, then only it will be executed. Okay. In order to run the program, JVM has to load the class into the memory, then only the program will run. While it is loading the class into the memory, static block will be executed. That's why it is get executed before the main method. And what is the main purpose of static block? If you want to initialize the class related variables, that is static variables, for one time, only one time when the class loads into the memory, when you want to initialize and later use that variables throughout the class code, okay, like in the main methods or etc. Okay, that's the reason we use static block in the Java programs. Okay, so with this practical demonstration and explanation, hope you got an answer for this question, and you'll be able to answer this question if you get this kind of question in the interviews. So that's all for this session. Thank you. Bye bye.